Hello again. Now, do you remember last time Henny had a toothache? We think. We don't know. Now, we'll see if we find out what's going to happen. Oh, Mr. Howard is rubbing down a bench in order to paint it, and he's just outside the window, so you might occasionally hear a little rubbing noise. But never mind. Okay, chapter 5, Aching. Oh, said Henny quietly to herself for the umpteenth time. 24 hours had gone, but the toothache hadn't. She had begged some aspirins from Mary Good, saying she had a headache, but they had not helped. As usual, one of the late Mrs. Hickathrift's many sayings came to mind. What can't be cured must be endured. But the sudden shooting pain in the big back tooth was now even more frequent. Nonetheless, Henny determined to begin her duties at Ivy Cottage, hoping that the work would take her mind off her troubles. She had persuaded the children's mother to go down to the beach with them, Marmite sandwiches, Eleanor's turn now, and was tackling a huge pile of ironing. When it felt like 11, she felt like a cup of tea, and looked at her wrist, only to remember where her watch now was. And when she'd made the tea, the first sip of it made her tooth jump like anything. There's a picture here of poor Henny with a lovely cup of tea, but she can't enjoy it because her tooth is so sore. In fact, by the time George Good came home for his lunch, Henny hardly knew what to do with herself, so constant was the sharp nagging pain. But I mustn't show it, she thought. She remembered her last visit to the dentist, half a lifetime ago, especially the awful buzzing of the drill inside her mouth. All alone, then? Said today's dentist. Yes, they've all gone down to the beach. I've put your lunch all ready. Aren't you going to have some? No, I don't feel like eating. Thank you. You're not ill? No, I'm fine, said Henny. And at that instant the pain stabbed at her viciously, as though to punish her for telling such a whopper. Oh, she cried, clapping both hands on one side of her face. I don't have to be a dentist, said George Good, to tell you to have toothache, haven't you? Henny nodded. Well, you've come to the right shop. As it happens, I've got a cancellation this afternoon. I can fit you in. Henny shook her head. No? Why not? I'm terrified of going to the dentist. I always have been. When did you last have your teeth checked? About 30 years ago, said Henny. I shall never forget it. Oh, that awful drill. I can hear it now. And I had to have 2 out as well, and he gave me gas. It was so nasty, the smell of it. I went all woozy, and I could hear sort of Chinese music inside my head. Oh, it was all so horrible. Look, Henny, said George Good, things are different these days. I wouldn't dream of giving you gas, and I promise you I shan't hurt you at all. The worst you'll have to put up with may be a little injection of local anaesthetic, a tiny pinprick. You won't even feel it. I don't believe you. Try it and see. No. Anyway, I can't afford it. Oh, don't worry about that. Let's do something about that toothache. It may go away, and it may not. Now, do you know where my surgery is? It's not far. Yes, we walked past it yesterday on our way to the beach. Angela pointed it out to me. I shuddered just looking at it. George Good smiled. I've seen lots of frightened patients in my time, he said, but they're all pleasantly surprised in the end. You be down at the surgery at 3:30. Henny grasped at one last straw. I can't, she said. I can't leave the house until the others come back. That's easily fixed, said the dentist. We'll use the patent Good emergency recall method. Come and watch. Henny followed him as, armed with a pair of binoculars and a large whistle, he walked down the Ivy Cottage lawn to the sea wall. First, he raised the binoculars and scanned the beach. Right, they're in their usual spot, he said. Then he put the whistle to his mouth and blew 7 loud blasts. Peep, 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 peep. Quite a number of holiday-makers, Henny could see, turned their heads at this noise, but then, seeing nothing out of the ordinary, lost interest in what it might mean. But there's George and Henny standing at the sea wall at the bottom of the garden. You can see the binoculars and the whistle there in his hand. But from the cleft in the rocks a figure came out and began to run along the beach towards the harbour. It was Barney. He ran up the ramp that led to the harbour and then along the jetty until he stood panting directly below them. "What's the matter, Dad?" he called up. His father leaned over the wall. "Ask Mum if she'll have you all back here by 3:15, will you?" "Why?" "Henny has an appointment with me at 3:30. OK?" "OK," said Barney. "OK," said his father to Henny. Henny opened her mouth to say no, and as she did so she felt the sharpest stab of pain yet. "Here's a kind man offering to take this pain away," she thought, "and you keep refusing his help, you old fool, you. Forget about what can't be cured must be endured. How about don't look a gift horse in the mouth, or rather, don't stop a gift dentist looking in your mouth?" "OK," she said, "I'll come. But I can't guarantee I won't run away again when I get to the door." "I don't think you will," said George Good. And before he left the house he wrote a note to his wife and sealed it in an envelope. "Give this to Mary when she gets back, will you, Henny, please?" he said. "Mary," it read, "Henny is suffering from bad toothache and a fear of dentistry. I can see her at 3:30. Don't let her rattle me. Escort her to the surgery, all of you, and shove her in. I'll do the rest. George." George was right, thought Henny as she climbed into bed that night. He didn't hurt me at all. At 3:15 the others had arrived home from the beach, but Mary Good had read the note and then showed it to the rest while Henny was out of the room. Angela and Barney read it, and then Eleanor read it to Rosie, who couldn't read her father's handwriting, and to Rowley, who couldn't read. At 3:25 they all said, "Are you ready, Henny?" "Ready for what?" said Henny. "For your appointment." "Oh, that. Oh, I don't think I'll bother." "We'll all come with you," Mary Good said. "Off we go." Even at the surgery door Henny had not given up all hope of escape. But when she turned round it was to face a solid wall of 6 goods. "In you go," said Mary, ringing the bell. "There's nothing to worry about," said Angela. "Like I said, he's ever so gentle," said Barney. "And the chair's ever so comfy," said Eleanor. "It lets right down like a bed." "And there's a nice big picture to look at on the ceiling," said Rosie. "And there's music playing," said Rowley. "Old-fashioned stuff." "Bach?" wondered Henny. "Brahms? Beethoven? What sort of music?" she asked. "The Beatles," said Rowley. "Real old-fashioned." And then at that moment the surgery door was opened, and there stood a smiling girl who said, "Good afternoon, Miss Hickathrift," and before Henny knew it, she was inside. Lying in bed now in the little flat, Henny pinched her cheek and her lip, which had both gone numb from the local anaesthetic, so they felt fat, and she thought she must be talking funnily. Now the numbness had all disappeared, and much, much more important, the beastly toothache had gone too, though the tooth was still there. George had repaired it. "Don't want you to lose any more than you already have," he had said when he'd finished. "We won't do anything else today, but there's quite a bit that needs doing, if you don't mind, that is." And to her surprise, Henny heard herself saying, "No, I don't mind." Once he'd done the injection, she thought now, and to be honest, I never even felt it. And when I found nothing was hurting me, I actually almost began to enjoy it. Lying back... Oh, Mr. Howard's sanding down again. Just ignore that. Lying back in that comfortable chair, looking up at that picture of the beach, but not one like Saltmouth, a palm-fringed Caribbean beach of golden empty sands and brilliantly blue seas, and listening to Eleanor Rigby and hearing George's deep voice rumbling on above me, telling me little stories about this and that, and occasionally asking me a question which I couldn't answer with my mouth stuck open. I really believe I'm not scared of the dentist any more, at least not of this one. He's a good dentist, he is. And then she smiled and said out loud, "He's a good, with a capital G, dentist." And then she went to sleep. Well, what's going to happen in chapter 6. It's called Bombing. You have a think about it. See you next time. Bye-bye.